Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the O'Rourke Report. Okay, this is what we have got to talk about today. We're going to go down to Charleston today, and we are going to talk about. We didn't talk about this last week, and I'm kind of down on Craig a little bit for throwing JT under the bus, claiming that JT called Patricia a bitch, you know what, and he never did. So I was kind of didn't like that Craig did that and then didn't take ownership of it. When having heard what Craig said, Madison and Whitney and Austin all used as an excuse to just jump on this poor guy, JT. I just don't feel he deserves the abuse that they're heaping on him. I just think he's a little awkward, and they are a tight knit group, and he's trying to get into a tight knit group, and he's a little awkward, so they're beating him up. I don't really like it. But despite all that, who had a party? I think it was the new girl, not Molly and her tuba, Sally. Sally, the doctor had a housewarming party. Everybody was there. At one point, Vanita, for some reason, jumped in the pool. Uh, but at the weight of her gown or something was weighing her down, and immediately you could tell this girl was in distress. Well, the camera catches everyone's reaction watching her struggle in the pool, one of which is Whitney. The only one who jumps in the pool and saves her. She looked like she was drowning. And she said she had a hard time getting her breath. It was Craig. Craig jumps in, shoes, everything, boom, right into the pool. Craig is the savior. So I guess we'll forgive Craig a little bit. But he still should apologize to JT. So that was last week. This week we see Craig and Shep trying to make nice with JT. They go on a fishing trip. And then the JT pile-on continues because JT is not a natural fisherman. And of course, Shep and Craig make fun of him that he's not a natural. I know JT is trying to fit in with the crew, but deep water fishing might not have been the way to do that. Uh, I hate when we see these scenes. Craig and Shep were discussing future with Paige, the Paige DeSorbo, who over the holiday broke up with Craig so she can go on to greener pastures. She likes to claim of course she didn't do anything of the kind, yet she, makes sure she's got a photo up at some football game with some guy I never heard of before. And so I imagine so I feel for Craig when I see these discussions because he's out and out. He says, "I'll wait for her as long as she needs me to wait for her." It's not so much as a ticking time bomb for me as it is for her. And when she's ready, I'll be here. Ugh, it's heartbreaking to say. Okay, Molly and her tuba. Molly, of course, was the girl who also was friends with Craig at one point, although I don't see her as being his type. I think Craig likes the dominant alpha female like Paige was, and Molly is not an alpha at all. And in fact, she plays the tuba. She's very proud of her tuba abilities. She belongs to the Charleston Philharmonic. She had a tuba solo. They all showed up. I think everybody on the cast showed up for her. And boy, this is one of the reasons I love this show, Southern Charm. Each and every one of them know how to dress. The men know how to dress on the right occasion, the women know how to dress. And they love to see what they're wearing. So they all look fabulous. They all attended her tuba recital, and it was very sweet. And somehow they got on the subject of tantric sex, which most of the young ladies had no idea what that was. Whereas if you said it something like that to Bryn from the Roni cast, my God, she'd give you a chapter and verse of all her experience with tantric sex. And And Molly at one point says that when it's described to her, the tantric sex is something that can go on for hours at a time, depending on what position you're in. She said, "Oh, that's way too much work." And she's absolutely right. Oh my God. And then JT has everybody, oh, after the tuba recital, everybody goes back to that, remember that venue that JT put together, an old carriage house that he turned into an after hours venue for not huge parties, but parties of 20 or 30 or so. And they go back to the house. And there is the controversy between Taylor, who used to date dumb Shep, and now is dating Gaston, who is the roommate of uh, TJ, not JT, TJ, the gay bartender on Southern Hospitality, who used to date Sally the doctor. And we were always kind of hazy on it, how long that went on. Well, JT tells Taylor just the extent of Gaston's relationship with Sally. And it was a lot more involved and went on a lot longer than Gaston has led Taylor to believe. Goes into another shouting match. Not really a shouting match, but leads immediately to ill feelings on Taylor's part. Taylor leaves the party. And once again, poor JT has cleared out the room. For some reason, Whitney is really on JT's case, which makes me suspect there's more involved than this highly unlikely JT having called his mother a bitch. There's more that the camera's not showing us. Whitney's a producer, so maybe that's why we're not seeing it. But boy, once Whitney heard that JT was involved in telling Taylor the extent of Gaston's relationship with Sally, his eyes narrowed. He got very angry and he ended up leaving the party. And he looked very much out of place. So anyway, that's all that really happened on Southern Charm. Not all that really happened. That's a lot to happen on Southern Charm. There's a lot of moving parts. And there's some things that make Southern Charm unique in and of itself, and that is people knowing how to behave in social situations, how to dress, and all that good stuff. And Craig's backyard, man, it gets better and better every time we see a shot of that backyard. He spent a lot of money putting in those pools and putting in the fire pits and everything else he's got there. It looks great. Okay. Oh, just to tell you, the extent of the relationship that Gaston had with Sally was that he was dating a friend, not Taylor, there was somebody else he was dating, that he cheated on that girlfriend with Sally, and it had gone on not for one or two dates, but over the course of months. They had told each other at one point that they loved each other. And so anyway, this Gaston sounds like a bit of a heel, and Taylor doesn't want to hear it, but Taylor's got a type. And so that's what went on there. Okay, let's go to Southern Hospitality with my favorite Joey Bottles. Poor thing. He's swimming in the pool and he bonks his head. He's got cuts here, here, and here. Had a concussion, had to go to the emergency room, and he and Maddie just look like a great couple. They've replaced, in their sincerity and their realness, they've replaced in a big way Craig and Paige for me. I wish them the best. Fingers crossed. The TV and fame doesn't hurt them. So anyway, we're at Lake's Lake House. Remember I mentioned that they had gone up there last week and how gorgeous this lake house was, and I recommended that perhaps the chef might want to open up for a while, a little more, fly out and spend some money on his vacation house, because the lake house was gorgeous. It's supposed to be a birthday party for one of the waitresses whose name is Lake, and she's one of the younger ones. they're introducing her, but the whole birthday weekend turns into being everybody dumping on poor Emmy because of what Will had said behind her back several months prior, or I think it was several months prior. Meanwhile, Will had told her everything that he had told her. He showed up, I guess, in his cups at the bar one night, and was saying that he didn't like Emmy with her new exercise routine, and didn't like this, didn't like that. It was the boyfriend bitching, actually. And, and nobody had said anything to Emmy except they told her this whole thing up on this lake house birthday weekend, and it devolved into a lot of crying on Emmy's part. She calls up Will. He arranges for him. Evidently, they're 4 hours away from Charleston. He starts driving up. His brother's closer to the lake house. His brother picks her up. Will's brother picks her up. They meet halfway. Will takes her home. They spend the next couple of days together trying to recover. So I feel for Emmy. Emmy's kind of really, and the ones who were really stirring the pot on this were the two gay guys. It was TJ, the gay bartender, and Michaels, the gay maitre d' or assistant general manager. They're the ones that kind of stirred the pot. I mean, I think their intent was true. Their intent was for Emmy to be aware of things that Will was saying behind their back. But they didn't know that she already knew, that she and Will had already discussed it, and Emmy felt like she was piled upon, and it was really kind of sad that everybody got hurt like that. And of course, the one really pouting was Lake, that, well, so much for my birthday, because nobody paid attention to her. And the only other thing I'm going to say is going to be a very short one, is Traitors is back. Wow, it's great formula, just great formula, especially for a Bravo viewer, because you really do know half the cast. If they're not a housewife, then somebody on Summer House, or someone who watches Survivor. I watch Survivor. I mean, Boston Rob is on there. He did a great ousting of somebody that was from RuPaul's Drag Race, which I love to see some of those contestants. Who I would love to see on the Traitors is the best I've ever seen on RuPaul's Drag Race is Jinx Monsoon. This gal is a powerhouse comedy talent. Powerhouse comedy talent. If you ever get a chance to see any of them with Jinx Monsoon, I would love to see Jinx Monsoon on the Traitors. So anyway, that's all I got for today, people. And I think we're all caught up. Tonight is Potomac, and are we going into a reunion with Potomac? Or do we have a couple more episodes? I don't know. I know Karen's not. Karen made sure that she wasn't at the reunion. And, it's Married in Married in Medicine's got a couples trip coming up. So that's on tonight. So I will check in with you later this week. And as always, if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button for me if you would, please. Just hit that. Doesn't cost anything. And hit that like button. Beep. And that will help me out. So thank you so much. I look forward to these get-togethers, and I'll look forward to our next one.